Hey guys, it's me Sam here, and I've actually had a lot of ideas for a lot of different videos that I wanted to put out, but I decided to just kind of make one now before I get into study mode. I do have a few exams coming up in the next couple stretch of weeks, so I really wouldn't have enough time. And I decided to just go ahead and make this another episode of my Ask a Stutterer series, and it's actually a topic that I've been asked a lot recently for some reason. And I mean, it's a topic I feel very comfortable talking about, and that is the ever so popular topic of class presentations. And I know for us stutterers, it's a pretty big issue, just because it's not our favorite thing to go out in front of our class and deliver a 5-10 minute speech or what have you. In my business career, or in my business school career, and especially in the accounting program where I attend school, I've had to give a lot of presentations. I've had to take several classes devoted to public speaking, or I've just had classes in general where the end of the semester project is a big capstone presentation, normally a group presentation. So I've been through it all, and even though I'm fairly experienced, I would say it's still not my favorite thing to do. Obviously, if I had the choice to not give a presentation, I would definitely take that option. But I just thought I would share with everybody a few of my favorite little hints and tips that will get you through your class presentation without much harm. So my first tip is definitely the hardest on my list, but I think it's the most effective, and that would be to advertise to your professor and your other students in the class beforehand. And like I said, not every stutterer might be ready to publicly come out as a stutterer. I know some of you may be more covert about your stuttering, but this will help a lot, and I feel like this is very helpful, because just by being open about your stuttering, especially when you have to give a presentation, when you're up giving your speech, that's one less thing you have to worry about. Delivering a speech, stutter or no stutter, is already pretty hard, because you have to constantly remember what you have to say, how you're saying it, your delivery, your presentation, your attire, everything. There's a lot of little factors that go into making a good speech, and if you're a stutterer especially, you shouldn't have to worry about when your next stuttering moment will be. And if it's out there, if your student or if your classmates know that you stutter, if your professor knows that you stutter, then when you do go through your first moment of disfluency and any other moments of disfluency, they should be patient enough and they'll be understanding enough to know that you're a stutterer and you'll just need a little bit more time. You can do this one of two ways. You could do this way beforehand, as in like the beginning of when the class starts. This is the technique I like to do, because this also gives me the freedom and the flexibility to do in-class contributions on a regular basis. But if you don't feel comfortable enough to do that, you can also advertise right before the speech begins. And this is actually a little interesting thing that one of my friends told me to do, and he is a stutterer as well, and it's a pretty common joke in the stuttering community. I had never heard it until like 2 weeks ago, but I thought it was pretty funny. So my friend likes to start his speeches by saying that he has good news and bad news, and the good news is that his speech is only 5 minutes long, but the bad news is he's a stutterer, so it might take longer. I don't know. That might be another effective way to open up to your classmates and to your professor, because at least by telling a joke and having a smile on your face as you tell a joke, it shows the class that you're okay with being a stutterer, and you're still pretty confident anyway, and I think you'll feel more confident as you deliver that speech. So my second tip is to just flat out prepare, prepare, prepare. I cannot stress enough that the more prepared you are to give your speech, the easier it'll be. And of course this sounds pretty obvious, but this is actually something overlooked, especially by stutterers, and in me, when I had to give a lot of presentations in high school, I was focusing so much on how can I make the speech so easy that I didn't stutter, and I wasn't thinking about anything else. And a lot of the times the content and the actual delivery of my speech took a hit. I remember one speech in high school, I had tried to construct it with nothing but words that I knew I could say, but it kind of messed with the flow of my speech. And there was even a time where I just flat out blanked out for a good 2 minutes just because I was so focused on my stuttering and not focused enough on the actual speech itself. So learn from my negative experience. Don't be like me in high school. Focus on your speech. Focus on the content. Focus on how you present it. Focus on your non-verbals as well. I'm sure you guys have heard it's good to have note cards. That helps me. I have a note card, as a matter of fact, here in my hand as I'm doing this. So yes, they do help. Practicing beforehand is another big key. Practicing in front of the mirror is okay, but I don't recommend it that much, because I feel like if you're talking in the mirror to yourself, pretty much, you're more fluent anyway, and that's not really a realistic simulation of how your actual presentation will go. And I think the key here is that the more realistic you can make it to your actual presentation day, the less nerves and the less anxiety you will have. So what I like to do, and this is actually a trick I picked up about my sophomore year of college, and that is to actually go to my actual classroom and to give my presentation in front of empty chairs. Now, if you have access to this, I definitely recommend it. And you can do this the evening before the presentation, a couple evenings before, a week before, and just keep practicing like that, whatever. But I think it helps a lot, especially with the psychological aspect of giving the speech. I feel like it eases me a lot, because then I can actually see beforehand how the actual layout of the classroom looks like from a speech perspective. It allows me to see how I can spread my eye contact. It allows me to see how much flexibility I have to move around as well. And if you could turn those empty seats into like a couple of your friends or some other people that you know, that would be even more effective. But I never actually had to do that, or not to do that, just because I didn't have any friends who were willing to sit in a chair and listen to me speak about the same topic for half an hour. But if you know people like that, hey, that's more effective too. And like I said, the closer you can get to the real presentation date, the closer you can get to simulating it, the less nervous you will be. So I also like to do dress rehearsals, because a lot of my speeches I had to dress up in business formal for most of them, so that's a good idea as well. And my last hint is another pretty obvious one, and it's to just relax. And I know for a lot of us that's easier said than done, because speeches are hard. But you have to realize that speeches are hard for stutterers and non-stutterers alike. According to a survey, Americans' most feared thing is actually public speaking. So just know that you won't be the only one that struggles with your speech. No one will have a perfect speech. There might be a couple of people that just blow their speech out of the water, but there are also imperfect speeches as well, and yours won't be the only one. And if you stutter, I mean, that doesn't matter. Another kind of thing I would say is, if you had the choice, I would definitely volunteer to go earlier. And this is just my own personal preference, because I feel like whenever I had to listen to more people's presentations, the more it got into my head, the more I had things to worry about. I would listen to one guy give a fantastic speech, and I would kind of get nervous that I had to live up to his expectations, or I had to incorporate things that that person had in their speech. And I just think volunteering to go earlier again, it shows the class you have confidence despite the fact that you're a stutterer. And I think that's a big portion of public speaking, just the image that you portray when you're up there speaking. So yeah, I hope this helped you guys a lot. I know a lot of you guys have presentations towards the end of the semester. As a matter of fact, I have one as well at the end of November. I have to interview the owner of this local ice cream company and present about that company's strategy, which sounds like a pretty fun topic. So until next time, I will catch y'all later. Yeah.